All right, as promised, here's my little piece for the front driver's side fender area. I ended up making this thing 2 or 3 times, actually. I think twice on this one. I wasn't happy with the bend of the first attempt, so just doing a little bit of fine tuning here with a Sharpie and some snips. What I did learn from the last one is that the smaller the gap possible, the less likely you are to blow through with the welder. So I'm really trying to get these things so there's a very small gap there, enough where you could fill it with metal and you're not going to just be welding on top of metal, but you still want to keep it as minimal as possible. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Those welds look like little droplets of poop, and you're not wrong. This is a really, really hard area to weld. I just can't say enough about the skill of people who can weld thin sheet metal. It all eventually comes together, though. A lot of going back and forth and back and forth and grinding and that. And eventually, I do pick up or use a technique that I've tried once successfully before, and it did work quite well actually. A piece of non-ferrous metal behind a cavity. It does two things. It absorbs some of the heat, and it gives the weld something to adhere to without actually adhering to it. So it's a pretty cool. I use a piece of copper pipe just bent. You can use aluminum as well, or brass, whatever. And I just want to get this area tidied up. I had a couple more little pinholes to fill in and grind down. Um, it was actually a surprising amount of pinholes that ended up coming through once I got it sanded down and finished up a little bit. But after about an hour or so, and then some primer put on it, it turned out pretty good. So this is the next section, item number 3 on my hit list for this car. This section here, I'll discuss it more later in this episode, but it looks simple enough, but it's really a tough area of the car to replace. Yeah, and here I am drilling out all the spot welds. I'm not a big fan of these spot weld drills. I mean, they work okay, but it's a bit slippery on there, and maybe it's the quality of the one I bought. I have no idea, but I don't love it. Let's put it that way. I did, however, buy some really, really terrible drill bits. Anytime you go and buy 168 drill bits for 30 bucks, you can expect that you'll get one drill out of them and then they'll be garbage, and that's exactly what I found. So I'm basically, they're single-use drill bits. There's one there. I think it breaks. I broke 6 doing this. That's how lousy they are. So just taking this last little piece of metal off here, and look at that, some sound deadener. And there's rust and bits of paper and probably a sucker or something in there too, I'd expect. But if you look up in the top left-hand corner, that's the other side. There's like a little collection area, I would call it, that all the stuff sort of falls into, and all the shavings from when Bill was wire wheeling the interior and that. I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking it too. This was the world's longest thing, is getting this bloody thing off of here. It's like a month of Sundays, but eventually it does come off, and then I've discovered a couple little pinholes and a few other little surprises, but nothing too serious. One of the ways Fitzy does his panel repairs is he does a thing called cut and butt. And what it is you put a piece of metal, you weld it in place, but you leave a little bit of the original metal behind it, and then you do a couple spots, and then you grind it out, and that way it fits perfectly with just the right size of gap. It actually works really well. I experimented a little bit before I got into this. Problem is, you need to be able to get behind and get the old piece of metal out, otherwise it sits in there. So I'm not able to do that here. I've got to just make a really tight template, and then a really well cut and well crafted piece of metal to fit in the spot. So it's time consuming, but it does come together. This whole piece here, which came out, what I didn't realize, and I soon came to realize, is that this is 3/4 of an inch over here, or probably 20 millimeters, I guess. Down here is about 10 millimeters. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the Fitzy method here and make this in 2 pieces. So this one will go in here, actually fits quite well. Around the front there too, so you don't get seasick. And then I'm gonna make a second piece that attaches to the bottom. Whoa, hang on, getting a little barfy here. Second piece that attaches to the bottom. So it'll go like this, and then go like that, and come down, and I'll tack it along where it meets the lower body. Then, because my brake that I just bought, it's in good shape, don't get me wrong, but I want to true up all these edges here. These things, they all need to be remachined. So they have, you can see there's a couple little gouges out of there. And I just want to get them all back up so they're all perfectly smooth. Then I can address or redress the machine and then run a sand over this area here so it gets it nice and smooth. Well, thank you for watching episode 17, or 17, my German word of the week. That's my German car of the week. Yeah, pretty fun-filled week of learning. Yeah, we did some learning this week. I look cross-eyed. Anyways, I got this section here in primer. It's in that weld-through primer, and I'm gonna, like I spoke about a few minutes ago in the video, I'm gonna do that fitsy way of doing it there by welding it all together on the bench and sticking it in and cut, weld, cut, weld, cut, weld. If you don't like cutting and welding, just keep doing it. It's like tying knots, just do lots. Okay, what else did I do? I got this thing all done, the pan brake, rebranded, of course. Ooh. So what I originally was going to do was take it in and get all the these dies put on the milling machine and trued at. And I didn't end up doing that because the machinist there said he's happy to charge me $200 or $300 to do that. Or he says, or just take it home, put it on your bench belt sander thing, grind them all smooth, make them all to about the same contour to them. So I used my contour gauge and just made sure they ran all the way along. I couldn't see light through them. Basically, I got for half an hour and maybe $1 worth of sanding. Do you measure sanding by the dollar? What a dumb thing to say. Anyways, a bit of sanding and a bit of time. I got those things nice and smooth. So now they're sitting there. I cleaned them up with some steel wool, and that thing looks like $1 million, or $500 or $600. What else to make? Oh, made a stand for it, which gets it the right height. I don't like working on the floor. I'm 52 and I have no desire to spend any more time on the floor than I have to unless I've fallen. That's pretty much it. Oh, one other thing is a friend of mine, Harold Kieswetter, put me onto his brother's YouTube channel. He's got a brand new channel. He just launched his first video about his partially restored, and he's put a lot of time and effort into a 1970 VW bus. I think it's really cool. It's not that different than that green one I looked at up in Sheraton Lake. They look very similar, but apparently the 70 and the 71 are different, just like the 61 is different. I guess, I don't know. They have some subtle differences, so much so that parts aren't interchangeable in some instances. So anyways, he's apparently very knowledgeable on all things air-cooled, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of his content. Somewhere down here, I'll put a link to his YouTube page. You can watch and check it out and like and subscribe. That's how I'm 17 shows in now. It's the same story for me. So anywho, that's pretty much it for this week. Yeah.